Now it's time to bring in U.S. Report regular Mick Mulvaney, former White House Chief of Staff, and also from Bondi Partners. Now, Mick, something we've been talking about a lot here on the program for weeks now is how Democrats are souring on Biden. What are your thoughts on where he's standing? Because I can't recall ever seeing in my lifetime an incumbent candidate from either party going into a second term with so many of their own party saying, I don't know if this is such a good idea.
Yeah, James, there's been a lot of discussion about this on the right for a long time. Obviously, that's what the right does when there's a Democrat in the White House. But in the last couple of weeks, we've started to hear chatter within the Democrat Party themselves. In fact, last week, there was an article written in The Atlantic, which is a left-leaning publication. Now, the piece was written by a Republican, but that left-leaning publication gave the Republican 1,200 words to say that he thought maybe it was time for Joe Biden to leave. So when you're starting to hear that chatter, what it means is that the grassroots are talking about it. The donor class is talking about it. It's now being openly discussed within the Democrat Party that maybe Joe Biden's age, maybe his infirmity, making him a little bit less electable and might make it more likely that Donald Trump becomes president again. And that's, of course, the one thing that the Democrats can't have. So you're starting to hear this chatter. I expect it to continue as we go into the summer.
And speaking of Trump, though, I mean, seeing a lot of interesting behavior out of him now that things start to heat up on the campaign. And I've been absolutely fascinated by what's been going on in Iowa, which is, of course, that very key early state. Now, Trump has been accused of snubbing and attacking Governor Kim Reynolds. Ron DeSantis is hitting back at this. Walk us through this, because Trump seems to be doing the thing that he does to a lot of people who cross him, accusing them of disloyalty, saying he opened up the governor position for Kim Reynolds and endorsed her, and now she's not returning the favor. Is this pattern going to start to be destructive for Donald Trump?
It depends. You know, you sort of get the feeling that if he wins Iowa, and of course he's polling right about 50% right now in the state of Iowa, so it looks like he would win if the election were today, it would be despite doing everything wrong. Keep in mind, Iowa, James, and again, you've mentioned it correctly, it is the traditional first state, especially for the Republicans. The Democrats changed this year, but it will be first again this year for the Republicans, as it's been for decades. The governor of that state is always neutral, always, always, always. It's a long-standing tradition in that state. So for Donald Trump to attack Kim Reynolds by saying, you know, she should be supporting him, is sort of have a tin ear to what's going on in Iowa. Would you add that to the fact that he's missed some very high-level events in Iowa? There's a bunch of political events, as you can imagine, in this state at this particular time, and he's not appeared there, and he's threatening not to show up at the debate in Iowa late in August. So again, doing almost everything wrong, but still polling at 50%. But that's Donald Trump.